welcome to the next stage in my learning to sew journey, I suppose. I've made a couple of videos about things that I've attempted to sew and things I've had help sewing this year. This one was the biggest project I've done so far. Do you hear all that noise outside? That sure is construction work happening. Let's carry on. Welcome to this video in which I got someone to help me sew a thing again. I actually originally decided I wanted to try and sew something myself, just entirely all by myself. And I got the pattern out, I looked out, I had all the pieces and they were all in big sheets. And I had everything laid out on the floor after deciding I was going to do this all by myself. And then I realised I needed an adult. I definitely needed an adult. I could not do this alone. So I called in Emma for help again because she is my friend who can sew and is willing to show me how it works, basically. We were using a vintage pattern, and this is actually the first time I've ever sewn something using a pattern. If you've seen my previous video on my previous sewing project, which I also got help with from Emma, she taught me how to do drapery and how to make something without a pattern that time. This time I really specifically wanted to learn how to use a pattern just so that I would know how to do that, right? And I have a bunch of vintage patterns and other patterns that were very kindly given to me by someone that I met through Instagram. And this pattern is very visibly from the 1980s. The example photos on the front of it are absolutely hideous. You know, I guess they were appropriate and stylish at the time, but that look did not hold up well. But I looked on the back of it to the actual drawings of the shape of the garment that it would make, and it's the sort of baggy shirt dress kind of style that I wear quite a lot. So that's why I held on to this pattern, even though like the example photos are just... What's the kindest way to put this? The kindest way to put this is that they are very much of their era. Yeah, they're very much of their era. But I'm not going to make them like that. I'm going to make it my way, and I like the shape of the dress. So that's where we got to. I asked Emma to come help me, and she sent me on a mission first to get the fabric for it, and the stipulation was nothing stretchy and nothing with a pattern that needed matched. That seems fair. Apparently those two skills are absolutely above my grade right now, and I completely agree. There's no way I could do stretchy fabric or pattern matching right now. So I looked in the pattern and I counted up how much fabric I thought I would need. Note that I said thought I would need. Went to the fabric shop, I got all my fabric. I just asked for something really cheap. I just told her straight up at the shop that I was learning to sew right now and I needed something really cheap that I could practice with. So that went great. But I miscounted how much fabric I needed, so I ended up with about 4 times, maybe 3 times as much as I actually did. So now I have a bunch of spare fabric, I suppose. But hey, it's not stretchy and it doesn't have a pattern, so technically mission accomplished. The next step was to cut out all the pattern pieces because they were still in their big sheets of paper. So I had to just sit and cut out all of the pieces. And you know this is a vintage pattern because it had a pattern piece for the shoulder pads. We decided not to use that, but you know, it's good to have the option, I suppose. The rest of the day was spent, you know, after cutting out all the pattern pieces, putting those pattern pieces on the fabric, cutting them out on the fabric, which involved some lessons for me because some of them specify that they have to be on a fold line so that you end up with double the thing that's on the paper pattern piece. I didn't know that was a thing. I learned that today. Well, I learned that this day. All the pattern pieces have arrows on them, which is the direction that the fabric needs to be going on under the paper pattern piece. Another thing I didn't know was important, but I learned that this day. And then we just spent hours and hours sewing all the pieces together in the correct order and drinking wine. You do. Because part of the issue I had with this pattern was that the instructions involved a lot of technical terminology that I just didn't understand yet. So having someone there to help me and guide me through it and show me what the pattern means by specific symbols and certain phrases just unlocked a lot of knowledge for me. So that was great. I'm so glad I have someone that's actually competent that's willing to help me. That's always a life hack. Have someone competent that's willing to help you. Where did we go from there? Where did we go from there? I got in a fight with a bobbin. Yeah, got in a fight with a bobbin. Got in a fight with another part of the sewing machine. It started fighting me quite near the end of the project, actually. I don't know. I think sewing machines can maybe smell fear, or not anxiety. They can smell excitement, and they know when you're at the end of a project and start doing weird things. But it's okay. I was taught how to fix that too. We decided not to hem the end of it. We just left the bottom edge raw because it was getting late. We'd done a lot, and I hadn't decided yet how long I wanted this shirt to be, because it turned out in the end that it was actually a lot longer than I anticipated. You know, I was imagining it being like long shirt length or short dress length, but it's not. It's almost floor length, and I hadn't decided how short I wanted it to be yet. So I thought maybe I'd cut it up to knee length and hem it at knee length, but then I also thought I might cut it up to be a shirt, because that's what I'd intended for it to be originally. But we didn't do that there and then on that day. I decided to, you know, keep trying it on and make sure it was all sitting right. And eventually we were done with sewing for the day and going out for the night. And I just kept it on, and I kept it on floor length. Went out, saw Tilly Electronics. This was my first time ever hearing of them. They were great. That was fun. There was a sort of on-stage cuddle puddle situation. The hem of the dress got all tattered and ribbony because it wasn't hemmed, it wasn't finished. And I was out dancing in it. And actually I kind of like it like that now. Do you want to see the finished product? Of course you do. Look at this. I'll show you what I mean about the hem. Tattered. But it kind of works like that, you know? It's very floaty and kind of see-through, and now the hem is all tattered. It's very ghostly. It's very ghostly. And I like it like that. So I might just keep this one like it is. But now that I know how that pattern works, and I have all the pattern pieces cut out, and now that I've done it once, I could almost definitely do this again. Maybe with help. I might need help again. But I like the shape of it, and I'm probably going to try and make a version of this that is more like a real garment, you know, out of decent fabric, and hem the bottom of it and finish it properly. But for what it is, for a first time ever using a pattern, I'm quite pleased with myself. Oh, some of it is very odd and wonky, I've just noticed now. Some of it's not sitting right at all, but that's okay. I can fix that when I do an attempt to and try another one. Like I said, I'm pleased with the results. I'm almost definitely going to do another one. If I do another one in better fabric, I will maybe make a more in-depth video about it, about actually sewing it, because I realise this is really just about my process rather than, it's not a tutorial or anything. I'm definitely not qualified to do that, you know. I can't tell anybody else how to sew something when I'm still learning myself. But thank you for being here. Thank you for tagging along in my learning journey. Support me on Patreon if you want to support me. Patrons get early access to literally everything, as well as sneak previews and behind the scenes stuff and just all sorts of things, There's also monthly prints, reward prints, and whenever I make new pin badges, patrons get them automatically if they're on the right tier, obviously. Let me know what you think. What do you think? What sort of fabric do you think I should make a second one of these outfit out of? Do you like my results? Are you proud of me for actually learning to sew? Thank you for being here. Let me know in a comment. Don't forget to subscribe. I make new videos most weekends, but just whenever I feel like it, really. Okay, bye.